If you've ever been curious about how somebody becomes a bottle girl at a club, listen up because I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know to prepare for the upcoming auditions. Make sure you watch until the end of the video for a couple extra tips and tricks from me to put your best foot forward at auditions. This will become all too familiar once you get a job as a bottle girl. There's carpet in my room. Hi, my name is Carrie Orozco. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I've been a cocktail waitress or a bottle girl for the last 8 years at the #1 nightclub here in Las Vegas. I got the job 2 weeks after I turned 21, and I've never looked back since. In this video, I'm going to be going over the types of jobs, where to find who's hiring, what to do before you get to auditions, and then I'll walk you through what an audition day might be like. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be making more videos about what it's like to actually be a cocktail waitress and answering some of the questions you guys leave under this video. There are no wrong or right ways to go through auditions. Ultimately, you should do whatever you feel comfortable doing. I did make a series on TikTok about the audition process and my tips and tricks, and I have had multiple girls years later, as recently as like 3 months ago, come up and say that my tips and tricks are the reason why they got a job and why they decided to go to auditions. So I've been hired, they've been hired. I do kind of think I know what I'm talking about. However, everyone's experience and each club might be different. So if you don't know what a bottle girl is, basically it is a cocktail waitress but at a club. And instead of doing single cocktails, you serve what's on the bottle menu. Bottle girl is kind of industry slang for cocktail waitress. So people always ask me, is being a cocktail waitress so much fun? And the answer is yes. It has its days like everything else, but it is. It's a lot of fun. I personally work 3 days a week. I get plenty of time off. I'm a full-time employee. I get benefits, and I am well paid. That's what everybody cares about. We are very well paid. But to get this super fun, well-paying job, what do you have to do? So usually when people are talking about bottle girls, they're talking about day clubs and nightclubs. So the pool or in a nightclub venue. So some of the best perks about working at the day club is it is so much fun. You work days, the pool environment is always really great, and you basically make all of your money within 8 months and you don't have to work year round. Some of the perks of working at a nightclub are that it's full time, so you don't have to audition every single year. You also get benefits, there's seniority, and there's a lot of job stability. To work at a day club, you have to audition every single year. So it's important that you make sure that your work performance and your physical appearance are absolutely perfect every single year, or else you run the risk of not getting hired back. So in both day club and nightclub, it's important to remember that this is a hospitality and customer service job as well as a sales job. You might also be asked to do things like social media marketing, putting people on your guest list. You'll definitely have to maintain your company's look policy, and you might be asked to go to outings. So to go to other sister venues or even competitors' venues to help support the industry. Each company and venue is gonna be a little different, and although it may sound like a lot, it really isn't overwhelming. Before we can talk about what you need to do to actually get the job, I want to talk about where you can actually find out who's hiring. So most clubs and pools will post on their social media when they're doing auditions, either in an in-feed post or even on their stories. Between now and December, they're going to start announcing these things. So I would follow all of them, turn on your notifications, and keep an eye out. You can also look at their company website, the local Las Vegas magazines, and you can even follow Cocktail Waitresses. It's one of my favorite accounts on Instagram. She usually posts when each pool audition is, and even for different areas, not just here in Las Vegas. Looking on Instagram is probably the easiest way because they will post their flyer and it will say the days that they're auditioning, what departments they're auditioning, what time you need to be there, if you need to fill out an application online, and what to wear. And this one might be the most important because some pools prefer that you show up in athletic shoes, so sneakers, and some want you to show up in heels. And it does make a difference if you are not paying attention. Because if you're not paying attention to details when you audition, then you're probably not going to be paying attention when you actually get the job. It's kind of a quick and easy way to figure out who's taking this seriously. With nightclubs, it's a little bit different because they already have a full staff. If they are hiring, usually they'll post about it online. But another way they find girls is actually through pool auditions. So even though you're auditioning for the pool, if they really like you, they might offer you one of the nightclubs within their own company. Sometimes after the pool season is over, companies will offer for the girls to move inside to a sister property for the winter. Some of those properties will allow you to stay indefinitely, so you don't have to re-audition for the pool. However, most girls re-audition for the pool. Working nights just takes a special kind of person. I know firsthand. Okay, let's talk about auditions. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Auditions can be very competitive. Thousands of girls auditions for a handful of spots at pools. There's also girls who are returning, who are already company darlings, and they're gonna get hired no matter what. So you're not just competing for a spot at the pool, you're competing for an open spot. Maybe they're not gonna hire a couple girls back, or maybe some girls have decided to move on. But for the most part, you're talking about just a handful of positions at these pools. And maybe, just maybe, a couple of spots at Nightclub if they have open positions. Most people think that you need to know someone to get hired at a club. And although that is helpful, not only with this job, but with any job, it is not required. I personally didn't know a single soul in the nightclub industry when I got hired, which was 2 weeks after I turned 21. So take it from me, you can do it all on your own. Auditions are usually in January and February, and I know I'm posting this video in November. The reason why is because you should absolutely start preparing for auditions now. Go and take a look at the clubs you want to work at's Instagram, and go look at the waitresses that they're posting. All of them are usually gorgeous and fit, and that you cannot do a week or two before auditions. Most of those girls do fitness shows and they work out year round. So if maybe you're not in your best shape, you need to start yesterday. I personally was dieting and exercising very seriously 3 months before I auditioned. So there is no shame in not being in peak shape. There is definitely time, but you need to buckle down now. This part here gets a little tricky. A lot of people will ask how size inclusive the industry is, and although I believe that different clubs like different types of girls, for example, some clubs like super fit, toned, visible abs kinds of girls, and some clubs like a curvier girl, where others like someone who's maybe a little soft and more girl next door. But these are model positions, so the companies are able to hire based off of looks and appearance, and then you will be held responsible to maintaining those, including progressive discipline and even termination if you don't. I just think it's really important that you go onto their social media and see the types of girls that they're hiring to give you the best shot at nailing these auditions. Hair down is the traditional style for all clubs. It's in my company's look policy, and I know other companies' look policy. During the summer, they do allow you to wear it up, but only if it's over like 110 degrees. So for auditions, definitely have your hair styled and down. Something that is not to be overlooked is what swimsuit you're going to wear to auditions. Plan ahead. This swimsuit should be professional. I know, what's a professional bikini? And yes, bikini. Do not show up to auditions in a one piece unless they ask you to, which I've never heard of before. Usually it's not something that's super strappy or that has animal prints. Definitely do not wear anything high-waisted. Go and look at the club girls on the Instagram. They're usually wearing tiny little solid color swimsuits, and that's what I would recommend. Pick a style that is flattering to your body. For example, I think I look best in tie swimsuits, where you might look best in a scrunchy butt swimsuit. Whatever. Go and try on a couple swimsuits in different colors and styles and pick the one that is most flattering on your body. This is going to be a dress for the job you want, not for the job you have situation. A lot of the girls who are returning and know they're going to get the job anyways do invest a lot of money in these swimsuits. Some of them even wear competition style swimsuits that are very expensive and tailored to their body. You don't have to go that far, but I do want you to take your swimsuit choice seriously. If they ask you to wear sneakers, I would make sure that they're white and they are athletic. And if they ask you to wear heels, usually a wedge sandal is what they wear at the club. So I would encourage you to wear something like that. However, you could wear a stiletto. You just want to be careful that it doesn't look trashy, which can be a little hard because you're wearing a bikini and high heels in the middle of a casino during auditions, but hopefully you know what I mean. But overall, you just want the most professional looking bikini heels combo that looks best on your body type that you can get your hands on. When I auditioned, I wore a red triangle bikini with little tie bottoms because I find that color to be really flattering on me, and overall it just fit super well. I personally submitted professional photos when I auditioned with my application. It is optional, but my belief is that they're auditioning thousands of girls, and I could get lost in a sea of skinny, pretty, brown hair, brown-eyed girls. So I thought it was important that I submit the best possible photo of myself to give the best possible chance of them remembering me, or even just if they have a couple spots left, being like, well, at least this girl has a pretty picture. So I did that. I know a lot of girls who don't. That's up to you. I personally would recommend it. Feel free to pause and copy down this list. This is just my opinion of the things I think you need to be mindful of going into auditions. Your workout, your nails, tan, teeth, makeup, your hairstyle. I personally put in clip-in extensions because I wanted a really full look, but up to you. A photo of yourself, your resume, and the bikini and shoe combo of your choice. Okay, so you have made it through November, December, and now it is January, February, and you are ready for audition day. Now, a lot of auditions happen on the same day. Sometimes they'll do it the same week, and I don't know, but sometimes I feel like they make them intentionally conflict in times because they want you to be dedicated to their audition, which I don't think benefits them or you, but I'm just the messenger. This is just my opinion, but my advice would be to go to the earliest audition that you can possibly get your butt to. The reason why is because I get the impression that there's kind of a keep and pass pile. And as this keep pile gets larger and larger with more candidates they're considering, the more kind of particular and picky they become. For the people who are doing these panel interviews, their days are really long and they're looking at girl after girl after girl after girl, kind of in the same look, the same outfit, the same swimsuit, and I think they just get exhausted. But yes, people definitely get hired on the last day of auditions too. I just think that your chances are a little bit better in the beginning. Audition days are really long, and sometimes you're doing multiple auditions in one day. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're prepared. Usually auditions are held on casino properties, either in banquet halls or maybe in the club on off hours. So you are going to be walking through the casino in public. So definitely wear an outfit over your swimsuit. I would personally go with something like a summer maxi dress with a jacket, but some girls do wear sweatsuits. I just think if by any chance an executive is walking past the line and they saw me in my bummy little sweats, that's not the first impression I would want to make. However, they usually stay in the room because they're doing interviews. That's just my personal preference. You definitely want to bring a bag of supplies, things to touch up your hair, your makeup, maybe some outfit tape in case you're worried about having a wardrobe malfunction, and maybe even put your heels in your bag so you're not wearing them all day and you can just change into them right before you go in. There's definitely time. You might also want to consider bringing snacks because, like I said, the day can be really long. However, I would be mindful about not eating too much so you don't look bloated because, again, you want to look the most fit you ever have. This is not healthy. Personally, I did not eat 24 hours before my audition, and when I finally got to the car after my audition day was done, I was like shaking and I had to eat like fistfuls of Cheerios just to drive home. Do not be like me. Eat something. Just be very mindful of how much and of what it is. Definitely bring water and maybe even a phone charger because sometimes these lines are so long. Seriously, girls start lining up hours before auditions start just so they can be the first one in and the first one out to hit the next one. Be prepared. A lot of people go to auditions with their friends, and I don't personally see any problems with this, but I would be careful. If your friend is a 10 out of 10 with a stunning personality, maybe don't go right behind her. That's just me. I think strategically about those things, but if you are confident that you and your gorgeous friend are both gonna get the jobs, you go, girl. Okay, so now you've gotten to the front of the line, you have submitted your application, and you are being called in. Typically in auditions, first they ask you to take a photo, front and back. You don't get to look at these photos, so make sure you practice your poses beforehand. Maybe ask your mom or your friend or someone who doesn't take the best, most flattering photos of you and try this out a little bit because I promise you, the person behind that camera is no Instagram superstar. They are not gonna do you any favors. Make sure you're like sucking in, you're popping out your butt and your hip isn't too far and that your eyes are open and you're not over smiling or whatever it is. Maybe just practice blind photos a couple times. It could be a make or break moment. Then you will finally see the people who are going to ask you questions. Sometimes this is one-on-one or sometimes everybody is sitting at a long table and they are just staring at you. Sometimes it is you by yourself. Sometimes it is a group of people. It doesn't really matter. All of the questions are going to be the same. They are not going to be super tricky industry questions. It's going to be something like your name, if you have any experience, if you've ever modeled before, maybe a fun fact about yourself, maybe why you want to work at the club, and if you would have a problem with like social media or guest lists. Occasionally they might ask you an industry question like to name 3 champagnes, or like what does customer service mean to you, or what is an upsell? Something not super difficult. What I think is more important than getting these questions right is being confident, professional, while also showing your personality. This whole job is about personality in sales. So if you cannot sell yourself with those minimal questions, then they're not going to believe that you can sell $10,000 bottles of champagne. That is interview 101. But I think because the questions are so simple, sometimes people forget that they're auditioning and competing with all of these people. So make sure you put your best foot forward, practice, and think about how you're going to say your name, how you're going to say if you've had experience. Come up with a genuinely interesting fact, even if it's not true. No one cares. Be confident, speak up, look them directly in the eye, and smile. It is important to look pretty and confident while you're speaking to them. This whole little interview process is very underwhelming. It probably takes 5 minutes. I'm not even kidding. You will be standing in line for hours, and they will get you in and out so fast. Make sure you say thank you, but then you just have to wait for callbacks. Move on to the next audition. If you don't think this one went super well, take a mental note, but do not get hung up on it because you don't want that to affect all of your other auditions. There are many, many, many auditions to go to. It might not have been the right fit anyways. Sometimes companies do callbacks right away, and sometimes they wait till all of the auditions are over. It's a very exciting call, but the audition process is not over because now you need to go in and you do need to answer real questions about the job. It's also going to be important that you don't go and binge eat a bunch of crap right after because you still have to show up in your swimsuit for these callbacks. If you're going to auditions, just plan on staying in shape indefinitely because if you get the job, you have to be in shape all year long anyways. And if you don't get the job, there's always auditions next year. So don't give up, try again. It's definitely easier to maintain than to start over again. Some of the questions they might include in your callback, again, are not going to be super difficult, but you do want to think about your answer and you do want to be thoughtful. You know, what's an upsell? What does full hands in, full hands out mean? Have you ever had a hard time with a worker or disagreed with a manager? Name 3 champagnes. Sometimes they'll ask you to name cocktails with different liquor. Sometimes they might ask you questions about customer service or your previous sales experience or any experience you have in the hospitality industry. Listen, I'm not saying to lie, but definitely bluff a little bit in your favor. You want to say everything with a smile, a positive attitude, and just remember you are selling yourself. The answer is not always the most important thing. Now, those tips and tricks I was talking to you about. Here's a little hack. If you go and look at the girls' personal social media pages, a lot of them will post when they're at auditions every single year. So go and look and see the swimsuits that they're wearing, the shoes they're wearing, how their hair is styled. Maybe even pick out a girl you think looks the most like you and just copy and paste. Auditions is not the place where you need to be original. There is no reason to get intimidated, but if you can't help it, just remember, fake it till you make it. I believe in you. Go and clean up your social media before auditions. I'm not saying that you have to have a professional Instagram, but just take a second look to see if there's anything your future boss might not want you to have on your page. And I might even suggest that you post the most flattering swimsuit photo you've ever taken of yourself right before auditions, because you just never know when it comes down to the last couple of girls what they're going to be looking at. Maybe also consider turning your Instagram off private just for auditions, and then you can turn it back on. This might not sound super nice, but you need to put yourself first. And what I mean by that is this is a very competitive audition process, and there's only a certain number of spots, and you need to think about that strategically. Like, maybe don't go with your prettiest friend. Or for example, some of the girls have been doing this for a long time, bring the people who are interviewing food, or they'll be like, oh, you know, my husband's doing fine. Oh, my kids are so great, right? They are buttering them up. So just be aware that this is a little bit of a game and you need to play it. For example, I stuffed my bikini top when I went to auditions. If girls are allowed to have boob jobs and that's not an issue, I have no moral or ethical issues with stuffing my bikini top to help me out a little bit. I'm just saying, help yourself out as much as possible. One last thing. I will be posting when my company specifically is doing auditions. I do every year in my Instagram stories. That is going to be the best opportunity for you to get hired because that's when the most applications are out there. If you are looking for a job right now as soon as possible, my company is not hiring and I don't know anybody who is hiring or who to even put you in touch with. So I'm sorry, all I can really talk about right now is auditions, which will be here sooner than you know it. Winter is slow season in the industry, so there's not typically a lot of hiring between October and January. Usually companies will just wait until auditions. I think that is it for this video. I think we covered all of the major things, but if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if I don't answer them directly, keep an eye out for my next video. Make sure you turn on your notifications and subscribe because I will be answering the rest of them there, along with anything else I remember or forgot to tell you. I really hope this was helpful. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my handle is @CarrieO's on every single platform. And on TikTok, I even have a playlist called Bottle Girl Things. It's all about work and mini vlogs and jokes and tips and tricks. I am going to be redoing part of that series, the tips from a bottle girl, because those were the first videos I was making when I started TikTok, and I just was watching them the other day and oh my gosh, they are so bad. I have come such a long way. So I'm going to be redoing those very soon. Cheers to you becoming a bottle girl. Good shit.